Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to do a demonstration of GloStream's EMR product, the electronic medical record with the look and feel of the Microsoft platform. We are Microsoft partners and we have embedded Microsoft products into our electronic medical record program. By leveraging this technology, users benefit with intuitive and simple navigation, which I'm going to show you right now. What you're seeing on my screen or on your screen is actually the dashboard. From the dashboard you get to view the entire patient list as well as get the look and feel of Microsoft Outlook, so I could go to my calendar or any of my appointment information, my tasks, or my messages just by a click of a button. From the dashboard you can easily search for patients by their name, for example, so I can type in MI and I find Milton. I could type in JEN and I can find Jennifer, or I could type in Jennifer's last name, Thompson, or part of Thompson, and find all of my patients that are related with the Thompson action. So I have the ability to search and scroll for patients in many ways. That Thomas was actually finding it by provider. So by date of birth or by social security number or phone number. For example, if I type in 05-, I'm going to actually see all of my patients that have a date of birth in the month of May. This helps us find our patients and make sure that we are actually seeing the appropriate patient, as well as by phone number or by social security number if that's how you would like to scroll for your patients as well. So searching is as easy as picking any of the column heads out here and deciding what is the best way to find our patient appropriately today. I also have the ability to search by provider, so if you have multiple providers in your practice, each provider can have their own patients showing up, or you could go out and see the entire office's patients as well. I can also click on Patients Seen On and pull up any patients that have appointments for today. So that actually helps my provider in seeing what patients they need to deal with without having the clutter of the entire database and all the physicians in our practice. You can also see that by highlighting a patient's name, I get their demographic information in a quick, easy to see, customizable demographic screen. I see the patient's name and their date of birth with their age, along with other customizable information. So today I've asked to see the gender and the phone number, email, pharmacies, and primary care physicians, but there's many other items that you can get to see from your demographic dashboard as well. Next to that is the patient's identification cards. That includes their state license or their driver's license. If you put their driver's license in, it'll actually scan their picture and make it an OCR picture in the demographics. Or you always have the ability to use a webcam and get current up-to-date pictures of your patients for better identification, as well as making sure that you're seeing your patients appropriately and reminding you of who those patients are. The insurance card information is obviously good for billing purposes as well as formularies when writing prescriptions. In the status box on the right hand side, you'll notice that this patient, Jim Grayson, has already been checked in for his follow-up appointment. We also have the ability to put in color-coded flags, which are similar to the flags that you might have in your office today that's telling you, is the patient ready to be seen by the next user. So an example would be my check-in staff might say that there's a yellow flag that this patient is checked in, but the green flag says they're not only checked in, but all their paperwork is done, so the medical assistant can now pick up that patient and use that patient to be seen at the moment. So you can color code your flag and your information as much as you would like with whatever color codes and processes that you want to set up internally in your practice. You'll also see that there's the ability to put which exam room and which user has that patient. So I could say that my medical assistant Betty is taking the patient to exam room 13, and it's that easy to know throughout your office where the patient is and in the process and who's seeing them. I have the ability to do many things as simple as the click of a button, and I also have alert messages that I can put out here. So by alerting my patient or alerting my office that this patient is hard of hearing, it allows me to quickly know or to understand that she may have an interpreter with her, or that I need to have behavioral patterns that match this patient's alerts. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see the patient's history, insurance information, medications and prescriptions, as well as any documents that I may need to view about this patient. At this point, I'm going to jump in and show you our document management system so that you can easily see how you can transpose your office from being a paper to an electronic medical record. If I click on things like current immunizations, you can see that I've scanned in my records as they were in the past, or any growth charts that we've had in the past. We also have built-in growth charts, so once you do your vitals on a child, these growth charts are automatically date and documented and actually processed out there appropriately for you with the right dots in the right area. So you, as a practice, have the ability to customize your categories for document management, so it's easy for you to get out here and see everything that you need to see from your paper chart world. So I'm going to close out document management and then get back to my dashboard so that you can actually see from my dashboard other information. If my medical assistant notices that the check-in has said the paperwork is done and that medical assistant is now picking up the patient, they're going to do their portion of the visit with their patient. Usually we start with the vitals, and the vitals are very important because a lot of times the scales or the information for measuring that patient is sitting outside of the exam room. So I might come in here and say that my patient is, we'll say she's 4 foot tall and she weighs about, let's go with 65 pounds. And then I can also come down to blood pressure and say that this patient's blood pressure is 100/60. So it's very simple for me to do my stats on a patient. We'll also say that she weighs, or I'm sorry, her temperature is 101. So we have warnings out there that'll say if you've put stats on a patient that are out of what we call their normals, then you get warnings like that that'll tell you if you've documented something possibly inaccurate. Otherwise, the vitals have been done on this patient as the nurse is taking them and getting them prepared for the doctor's visit. The other part that the nurse or medical assistants do for the physicians is usually their histories. So obviously the physician can view everything with one click button at the bottom to see the history, but I can also enter history by clicking this button up top. A one-click button takes me to where I can add my allergies, my surgeries, social histories, medical conditions, family histories, and all of these have pre-built lists in them to where I could either just touch on them and insert, or I could add on the fly if I wanted to as well. If I'm reviewing my patient's history and nothing has changed since the last time that I've seen them, as the medical assistant, I can click the review button and it'll automatically log that I've reviewed this patient's history so that I have compliant information in my system. The next thing that it's going to do is take me into my medications so I can look at my patient's medication histories. While I'm in here, I'm going to describe a couple of things about the medication module so that you can understand its flexibility and all the great things that the medication module can do for you. The first thing you would notice is these U's next to the all drug option are the formularies, and this is telling me that the formulary is unknown because I have not launched out to my RX Hub to find the formularies that match this patient's insurances. But once you do, the formulary information is apparent and very simple for the providers to help get the patient the right drugs at the right cost. The other thing you'll notice is some drugs out here are in red and some are in black. The red is actually telling us that it is a narcotic, so I may have to print narcotics compared to doing an e-prescribe, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the right prescription out there for my right patients. You'll also notice at the bottom of your screen are other quick win lists that you can build, a practice favorites or provider favorites, as well as the system is automatically keeping up with a provider's frequently used drugs. So if you often prescribe the same drugs, you may see just your frequently used drug list up here and not need to go any further. It's a very quick and handy thing for you to use. The other option that you can see on the right hand side here is the patient's pharmacy name and if it's an e-prescribed pharmacy or not. So if it's an e-prescribed pharmacy, when you are prescribing something, it's as simple as clicking ERX and it will automatically send that prescription out to the electronic pharmacy. Or you can hit Send RX and it would know if that needs to go via fax, via print, or if it was electronic medical record or electronic prescribing. I also have the ability to click on this medication history button, and that launches me out to RX Hub, which is the hub that stores all of the pharmacy's prescriptions. And from there I can actually import all of the patient's medication history right into my file for me, so my nurses don't have to manually enter all that information. It's automatic. The other thing that you're seeing are these other buttons up here, which are all part of your drug utilization review. So it shows you your drug therapies, your drug to food interactions, as well as other medical instructions and other drug interactions. So these can be actually pop-up warnings for you if that's something that you choose to turn on per provider, or you can use them as buttons to highlight when you're prescribing something you're not really familiar with and have the system actually go through and do those drug interaction processes for you automatically. I'm going to go ahead and save and close this information. So now my medical assistant has done my patient vitals as well as